Quiet on the set. In 5. Everybody awake? Alive.
All right. Good evening, everyone. This open meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission is being operated under a hybrid format pursuant to Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022. The public can join the meeting remotely by telephone by dialing 1-408-650-3123 and then using access code 942-845-549. Or you can join via computer at global.gotomeeting.com/join/942-845-549. All supporting materials for tonight's meeting have been provided to commissioners and are available on the town's website, and the public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. My name is Michael Garland. I'm chairman of this commission, and permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda participating remotely are present and can hear me. So members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Tom Fallon.
Here.
Michelle Colross.
Here.
Patrick Cunningham.
Here.
Megan Langley.
Here.
Catherine Nordberg.
Here.
And Chris Carey.
Here.
All right. And also attending is our administrative assistant, Keith Heselton. All right. So please understand or know that this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. If there are people participating tonight remotely, I'd ask you to state your name and address as if you were attending in person. So having said that, the first item on tonight's agenda is a 7 p.m. public hearing. Logan Huffman, a notice of intent for a portion of Washington Street Route 20 for reconstruction. I understand that the applicant has filed a request to continue. So having said that, is there a motion to continue the public hearing for this matter to October 26th at 7 p.m.?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's a vote. Okay. Now, since that took no time at all, I'd like to move things around because our next two public hearings are going to go very quickly. I see here we have members in the audience. Would this be for 23 Brook Street?
Yes.
Okay. Would you please come on up and state your name individually? Please come up.
Gus Fowler.
Hello.
Amy Rakowski. Christiana Dennis Fowler.
Okay.
And Kevin Duquette.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So, I think you're aware of the issue that we had. This was a situation where there was an order of conditions that was issued for this project, and before we had an opportunity to act on a request for a certificate of compliance, there was other work that was done, and there was no filing done with our commission, either as a request for determination of applicability or a notice of intent. And that's why we issued the enforcement order. So I'm not quite sure. I think the party that applied for the certificate of compliance was under the assumption that having submitted photographs of the hydroseeding, that was sufficient for us to issue the certificate of compliance, when in fact it was not. And by the time we were able to get to the property, there other work or additional work had been done, and that was not filed with us. So, I mean, I understand that mistakes can be made, so I'm not quite sure why there was a miscommunication in that sense. So if any of you want to tell me what happened or what you think happened, I'd like to hear it.
Yeah, we do. First off, we're really just here because we need to get our certificate of compliance.
Uh-huh.
So we'd like to get an action list of, what does the builder need to do to issue that? And then second, I guess we were under no impression that we violated anything. So two, we need to know what is the violation.
Well, it may not be a violation running to you. It may be a violation that runs to the homeowner, because again...
These are the homeowners.
We are
so,
Understood.
Yes.
Understood. My point, though, if you heard the first part of what I said, is that before we had an opportunity to go and approve your certificate of compliance, additional work was done, and it looked like part of the work that was done actually tore up some of the work that you had completed. Or am I mistaken?
Well, I mean, the grass was already done. I mean, it was
It was completed.
completed. We took pictures of
Right, it was completed, but we had not had an opportunity to inspect it.
And I think that was the problem, because we didn't know that. We thought that everything was all set.
Mhm.
So when she came on Saturday and said to me, someone from the town, that we are here to inspect the grass, the lawn,
Mhm.
and I said, okay. The work was done 2 months ago.
Right.
And from my understanding, everything was all set. So we
Mhm.
started to build a patio. I did come to the town and speak to Keith on Monday after someone came to the house.
That would have been Ms. Colress, I believe.
That was
Mrs.
me.
Cole, sorry,
Yeah,
Michelle.
me and Megan.
Michelle, so I spoke
Yeah.
to Keith because I wasn't sure what I needed to do to
Mhm.
proceed with the work. So I came in and I spoke to Keith and asked him if I needed to apply for a permit to continue the work.
Mhm.
So he then, said to me, you should be all set because it's a patio, it's not a permanent structure. So I said, okay. I went and continued the work, not
Yeah.
knowing, and then I received the letter after.
After, right.
So my thing is, I hope that, we're giving instructions on what we needed to do.
Okay.
So I think that's where the breakdown of communication, if she had given us instructions saying, this is what you need to do. I did come and speak to Keith right after that Monday, because I wanted him to guide me on what we needed to do to continue. Yes.
So I didn't know that you had come in here. So yeah, you did need I wrote on that paper that you needed a request for determination. You needed to apply for a request for, what I was looking at that point, you were close to the wetland. The same reason that you needed the certificate of compliance was because you were close to the wetland. Like all of the work that you were doing was close to the wetland at that point. That
That's the biggest issue is, if we pull this up on GIS, there's no wetlands. So we don't even know what your buffer zone is. I just happened to find, when there was a hearing to approve the land, that yes, it was approved within a buffer zone, but we don't have a delineation of even what that is. So if you could provide that, that would be really
Well,
helpful.
our jurisdiction is triggered if any work is done within 100 feet of a bordering vegetated
Right.
wetland or an intermittent stream,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And
it's
so,
been pretty dry, and if your builder told you that it was there, they delineated it, or they should
No,
have.
he didn't.
No.
No, nobody ever said anything
No,
about
nothing.
wetlands, ever.
Not ever.
well,
So
Do we have the documents from
No.
Right,
when
exactly.
the delineation should have been done, when the notice of intent was filed?
the fact that you're before us now indicates that there was, an order of conditions was issued, tells me that a notice of intent was filed whenever this project was started. I looked at the title very quickly the other day, and I know we're talking about, the hearing had to have taken place sometime last year. That's my best memory, okay? So to your point, and I think the way we resolve this, so you can get your certificate of compliance, is that, I'm available for a site walk this Saturday. Figure we go.
Perfect.
So on
Perfect.
Saturday,
Yeah.
we will look at the work that you have done as builder, and then if it looks like everything is conforms with the order of conditions, then I think at that point we can issue a certificate of compliance. With respect to the patio, did you stop working or is it completed?
Oh, no, we stopped.
Okay. All right,
This is
so
the
at that point, we can also determine whether you do need to file a request for determination of applicability, and then we can move on from this.
Thank you.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
All right,
Right.
so why don't we plan to meet at 23 Brook Street, say at 9 o'clock on Saturday? All right,
Thank you.
all right.
Okay.
You're welcome.
That's fair.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
That's fair.
Very good.
See you
All right,
there.
thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
That didn't take too long. The next item on our agenda is a 7:05 public hearing, Sparhawk Realty LLC, request for a notice of intent for 404 Oxford Street North. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's a vote. Okay. So, we've walked the property now a couple of times. We last walked it 2 weeks ago. And the wetland area is well delineated. It's towards the back of the property, actually quite a distance away from Oxford Street North. And what was demarcated comply with the plan that we were provided. It is actually, I think where the building is being suggested is within 100 feet of the buffer zone, and so we obviously do have jurisdiction. But aside from that, it looked like a pretty straightforward project. And I know that the engineer tonight, or the applicant, had a conflict, and so they asked us to proceed without them being present, which was fine with me. So, any comments, Tom?
Nope, I agree.
Okay. All right. So if there are no other comments, and there's no public comment, is there a motion to close?
Make a motion to close this public hearing?
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, perfect. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's a vote. And the next item on our agenda is a 710 public hearing, Sparhawk Realty, a request for determination of applicability for property at 189 Southbridge Street. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's a vote. Good evening.
Good evening. Scott Morrison from Ecotech.
Are you here for that property?
I am.
So we walked the property. It appears to all be upland. I think the wetland is across the street, probably several hundred feet away.
Yeah, I think I calculated on GIS. It's like 240 or.
Okay, like I said, several hundred feet away, or not, maybe not that far. So, based on our observations, we don't have jurisdiction. I could not see any conceivable wetland impact from that property being developed. So, those are my
That's
two
great.
cents. Tom,
Yep, I agree.
Patrick,
Fully agree.
Megan.
Yep, I agree.
All right.
Me
So,
too.
you weren't there. Many of it. So,
I just agree with you.
it's pretty dangerous. Is there a motion to close?
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's a vote. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. Take care. We have a few minutes before our next public hearing. So we had taken, while we were doing site walks, we also investigated 3133 Albert Street. They have filed a request for a certificate of compliance. We walked the site. We had the as-built plan. Each of the duplexes appears to conform with the plan that was provided. In fact, we saw there were still siltation control measures or erosion control measures in place, but the buildings as constructed appeared to comply with the order of conditions. So if anyone wants to jump in and say something, be my guest. You guys are very quiet tonight. All right. So, having said that, it appears that this property did satisfy the order of conditions. So, may I have a motion, please?
Make a motion, we issue an order of condition, a certificate of compliance for 3133 Albert Street.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. That's a vote. So I have a question before we take up our next public hearing. There's a notation here, request for certificate of compliance, and the notation is between 39 and 78 Prospect Street. Can you explain that?
That's how it was submitted. As I understand it, it was a property that was being developed at the time that had several areas that it covered, but it wasn't an actual numbered parcel.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's how we ended up with this.
So what, you're telling me there are like several buildings there now?
I am actually not sure of what's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my suggestion is that maybe we take a look on Saturday.
Okay.
You know, I'm sure if there are several properties, they have different numbers.
I'm gonna take a guess and say that it's probably right where Hilltop is. right,
Okay.
probably that access part maybe.
Mhm.
I drove by and just took a look at, and from 1999, obviously, it's
Yeah.
23 years, so.
Yeah, well, I think, I don't know if if Ms. Gagnon or if an attorney from Fletcher Tilton's gonna join us tonight, but I imagine we'll have a discussion about that. All right, it's 7:15. The next matter on our agenda is the Mass Department of Transportation Highway Division, a request for determination of applicability for a portion of I-90 East, requesting the project be found to be adequate protection under the Wetlands Protection Act. Is there a motion open?
Make a motion, we open?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. So this has been our agenda a couple of times. We have requested some additional information which they provided to us. And I don't think anyone from Mass DOT is available. Mr. Engel, can you unmute your microphone, please? You're not
Hello.
you're not here for the Mass Department of Transportation, are you?
I am not.
Okay, no worries, we'll get to you shortly.
Thanks.
So, I mean, based on the submission that was made, if you recall the presentation, and I do, the wetland protection was called for. Those portions along I-90 where there might be a wetland impact, there were erosion control measures shown that would be implemented. So having said that, is there a motion? And let me just be clear, if we decide that they're requesting a determination of applicability. If we decide that there isn't, then the process ends tonight. If we decide that there is, then they have to file a notice of intent.
Didn't we get in this fight with them before, and then they went? If we did do the applicability, and we made them send out, like, we wanted them to send out letters, was that them?
No.
It wasn't them?
Mm-mm.
That was the train people?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
train people. That's okay.
I couldn't remember who that was.
That's fine.
Okay.
This was, correct if I'm wrong, like 800 feet, correct? On the Mass Pike?
Yeah.
And from Oxford, it wasn't much, it was like just going over the line.
Yeah, I
So-
think that, honestly, I say we do.
Okay, so does anyone feel comfortable making a motion?
Make a motion, we close the public hearing?
Okay.
Do it negative determination.
And is there, well, all
Or
right. And is there a second to close the public hearing?
close.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, it's a vote. And then if we, since we have a couple minutes, is there another motion for this application?
I make a motion that we issue a negative determination for this application.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's a vote. Okay. Again, jumping around, and I apologize. We need to change the day of the emergency certification from the oil spill from 30 to 60 days. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion, we change the emergency certification date to 60 days from the current 30.
Okay. And Patrick, to your point, that was the car that hit the transformer or the pole,
Yes.
up the transformer, and there was oil, and it was a mess.
Doesn't seem very emergency if it's 60.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's a vote. Okay. We have one more minute. Question?
Saturday,
Yes.
we're gonna start at 9.
Yeah.
We're gonna start at 23 Brook Street.
Yeah.
Because I might have to bail out early,
Okay.
and I wanna be there,
Okay.
okay?
Do you have to take a boat somewhere?
We're taking the boat out of the water, so the boat is done for the
Okay.
season. So you will see my face on Saturdays more frequently now.
Okay, excellent, very good.
Possibly until, like, snowmobile season's in January, and then, so you've got
Oh, I
a
see.
2-month window.
Small, very
Yeah, you got a small window.
Boy, it's an honor, I'll tell you. Okay, the next one on our agenda is a 7:20 public hearing. Anthony Benvenuti, notice of intent for property at 829A Oxford Street. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's a vote. Okay. Mr. Engel,
Yes.
good evening. So your 829A Oxford Street North has been called to order. Would you care to give us a brief overview of the project?
Sure. So it's 829A Oxford Street South, proposed single-family home. The site's a little over 3 acres. The property gently raises from Oxford Street South to the east to kind of a flat ridge, and then it kind of drops back down to a wetland further east into the property, about 200 feet from the roadway. So the owner is proposing to construct a 3-bedroom home. There's not too much clearing. There is a cleared area there already, I think from previous farming. It used to be a farm a few years back, so I think it's like an old hayfield kind of extension. But there is some clearing, septic system, on-site well. The area disturbance is a little over 10,000 square feet, so we incorporated some stormwater management to meet the land disturbance regs in town. Erosion controls, there's not much work within the 100-foot buffer. I think the limit of work is about 80 feet from the actual wetland. And those wetlands were delineated by Ecotech. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. DEP hasn't issued a number, so unfortunately we don't have any comments from them at this point.
All right, so have you appeared before us before?
What was that?
I said, have you appeared before us before, Mr. Engel?
I have. It's been a while, but I have.
Okay, so I think you probably know we always like to take a look, and given the fact
Yep.
that you haven't gotten the DEP number anyway, we can't close tonight. So with your permission, we'd like to go out and take a look on Saturday. I'm not sure that you need to be there. I mean, it looks like a pretty straightforward project. Will there be a full basement?
Yes, proposed walkout in the back.
Okay. And in terms of, will you need to bring in any material, any soil, or are you going to just use the materials on site?
I think they'll be able to use materials on site. If anything, they'll probably have to take some out.
Okay.
The soil on site it's pretty much just cobbles. The soil testing we did for septic, it's not even really sand. It's just river rock, hard to dig in, but water just right through it. So I think some material will have to come out for the basement and for the walkout area.
Approval from the Board of Health for your septic?
There shouldn't be anything coming in.
I'm sorry, did you get approval from the Board of Health for your septic design?
I haven't seen an approval come through yet, but it has been submitted to Darwin.
Okay. And assuming, we give you an approval in a couple of weeks, when would you start construction?
That I'm not positive on. At this point, probably the spring. I don't know if Mr. Benvenuti's in attendance or not, but I can have that answer for you next time if not.
He doesn't appear to be. I was just curious if you were going to try to start work this fall.
Yeah, I'm not positive. I know it's for his daughter, I believe. So,
Okay.
I believe he wanted to start this year, but things took a little longer than he had hoped, and it might be pushed off to the spring at this point.
Okay. those are all the questions I have. There might be other members of the commission that want to ask you something. Anyone?
I covered mine.
Okay. So, like I said, I don't think it's necessary for you to be there on Saturday, but that's your choice.
Yep.
All right. So, with your permission, can we continue the public hearing in this matter?
Yes.
Okay. So, Keith, what would that be?
That would be the
7:05?
7:05 at this point, yep.
Okay. Is there a motion to continue the public hearing for 829A Oxford Street to October 26th at 7:05 PM?
Make a motion to continue the public hearing for 829A Oxford Street to 705 October 20th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's a vote. All right, Mr. Engel, so we will continue the public hearing to our next meeting, which is on October 26th at 7:05 PM. I anticipate we will be out to the property sometime around 9:30 this Saturday. As I indicated, you don't have to be there, but if you are in the area and you want to show up, that's up to you.
Sounds good. I will let the property owner know, and we may see you there.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Next matter on our agenda is the 7:25 public hearing. Angelo Bafaro, notice of intent for property at 5 Byland Drive for the construction of a lake retaining wall. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. I don't see that anyone is participating remotely for this this applicant. So there's no DEP file number for this one either, right?
No.
All right. So I don't know if Mr., it looks like Mr. Bafar filed this on his own. Well, no, I take that back. He's represented by Glenn Kravosky. So where's Glenn?
I'll reach out to Glenn tomorrow.
Okay, that's fine. So since they don't have a DEP file number anyway, is there a motion to continue this matter to October 26th at 7:10?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, it's a vote. All right, he probably has another hearing somewhere. All right. So, we closed 404 Oxford Street North, and also we voted on 189 Southward Street, so we don't have to worry about that. And also, we issued a negative determination of applicability for the I-90 East project. So it looks like the only thing we need to do is an order of conditions for 404 Oxford Street North. So who wants to take a shot at that?
Well, Tom's really good at those.
Make a motion, we issue a standard order plus the following special conditions.
Okay?
Numbers 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 11, and 13.
Okay, so the motion is a standard order plus 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 11, and 13. Correct?
Yes, not 6, 5, correct.
Right, okay.
Wait, I'm sorry, what property are we talking about?
This is 404 Oxford Street North.
404, okay.
Should 9 be included?
And I think 9 should be included. So that's
Oh, is-
no storage of snow.
That's the one with the snow, but wasn't there an area there that he was gonna use for storage of snow, I thought? on
Oh,
the
just in
plan?
case.
All right, I wish to amend that and add number 9.
Okay, so, just to make sure we're on the same page. Standard order plus 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 9, 11, and 13. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's a vote. Okay. I think that's it.
I have 189 Southbridge termination of applicability.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
oh, you're right. So is there, I guess we didn't vote on that. Is there a motion for 189 Southbridge Street?
Make a motion, we issue a negative determination.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's a vote. Okay.
What are these two? I have something for 360 Church Street and 342 units, or 12 Hilltop Farm Road.
So 12, yeah, so no one, all right.
Nobody attended.
So 12 Hilltop Farm Road has an interesting history. It was developed by a gentleman by the name of Tom Urbane. And were you on the commission?
I
during-
was not, it was
Yeah, so I
1999.
think I'm the only survivor from that era. And what happened is that we had some issues with Mr. Urbane. He wasn't always compliant with the orders of condition. And I can recall at least one other instance where we did an order of conditions which required an as-built plan, which he did not provide. And it appears for 12 Hilltop Farm Road, the same thing has happened. We received a request for a certificate of compliance. We pulled the order of conditions, and it's the same thing. There was an as-built that was required. An as-built has not been provided. I was under the impression that someone from Fletcher Tilton, whether it be Ms. Gagnon or more likely an attorney at that firm, would have signed on tonight for this, but they have not done that.
So this property was sold, but there wasn't, is that what it is?
What happened is that we issued back in the day, I think back in the last century, or shortly after that, an order of conditions. The property was built, and I think it may have been, I don't know if it's been sold more than once or not, but what happened is that they did a title search and they found an order of conditions. And to the extent that it can act as a cloud on the title of the property, they want to clear it up, which is a reasonable request. The problem is that they did not provide us with an as-built plan. And so I think that is an issue. So I think my suggestion would be this, and I can draft a letter. You know what, they provided us with the order conditions, so they must be aware of the fact that an as-built was required. So my suggestion would be, and you can put this in a form of a motion if you'd like, send them a letter just advising them that we cannot act on their request for a COC until they provide us with an as-built plan. Now, they're probably going to come back and object to that because they're going to say, well, you know, this project happened over 20 years ago, and I think the response would be, well, yeah, so?
Is there a statute of limitations?
I don't think so. No, not for, I mean, that's a great question. Let them raise it as an affirmative defense. I think they're obliged to do it. You know, if you look at this as a contract, then they haven't complied with their contract, and we can't issue the certificate of compliance. So my suggestion again would be a motion to, if one of you wants to make that motion, for me to send the letter along those lines.
I make a motion for you to send a letter along those lines.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Perfect. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so vote.
Okay.
All right.
Just one more thing. Can I ask you to, for 23 Brook Street, I'm not going to beat a dead horse to death. Could you get when the pictures were sent in by them?
Absolutely.
Because I'm fairly confident that we went there sooner than the 2 weeks that they were saying.
Yeah, I believe so too, because I think the next week we asked,
We
did they ever show up, and I think you said no, so.
So I asked on the Wednesday. We went there on Saturday. We asked on Wednesday, did they ever show up on Monday? And you told me no.
Okay.
So,
I'll check my notes.
okay.
They, in fairness to them, they may have showed up, but they didn't indicate that it was a conservation issue.
Okay.
And I did not remember the address at the
Okay.
time, so
That's all right.
so that might be part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they start constructing this patio themselves, or did they hire someone to do it?
They
I'm
hired
not
that
sure.
guy. That other gentleman was saying that he was the construction worker,
Okay, all right.
and that he is, And he should know too, because construction workers are supposed to know that if they're working within a wetland, that they are supposed to notify conservation
Right.
before they actually start any work. Now, they live on Brook Street, and again, it's been dry this year, so even we have had hard times sometimes seeing where a wetland would run.
Sure.
However, there were straw wattles that had deteriorated from the original work that was there.
Yeah,
Well, and we were there last fall,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
and it's the
Looking
same
at it.
They
owners,
just
right?
hydroseeded.
Yeah.
I think it's the same owner, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So if you could just pull those pictures so we can bring them,
Absolutely.
okay, that would be great.
I mean,
Put
it
that
was,
together.
they were arguing that it wasn't delineated, even though it had to have been in order for us to
That's what
approve
confuses
the order
me.
of conditions.
Exactly.
I mean, we can pull the
Confused by their
original
confused if
application,
it's
of course it was
delineated.
delineated.
Right, it was
They put it in
delineated, and we walked it, and
Yeah.
we,
Walked it, and we issued
This is all last fall.
an order of
So-
conditions.
yes.
Right.
Yeah, that seemed a little disingenuous.
So we went, when they originally requested a certificate of compliance, and they had just hydroseeded, and it kind of was washed out. So we said, you know, we'll come back when the grass grows in and all that. And now the conflict now is that we went to go back to make sure the lawn came back in, but they had then done additional work, which more than likely is just a separate project that's going to require.
Right, makes
Yeah.
sense.
Or, well, it might not, but either way,
It
they
had
tore
been
up the work that they
hydroseeded.
said that they did.
There was no lawn.
Yeah.
It was hydro seed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so, is there any other business? So, in that case, for those of you who can make it, let's plan to meet at 23 Brook Street at 9 o'clock on Saturday. We have a couple of other site walks to do. I mean, I think we can take a look at 829A Oxford Street, and we can go to 5 Byland Drive too, so it shouldn't be too long.
Okay.
All right, does anyone have anything else?
Just the 39 to 78 Prospect Street. Are
Yeah.
we just gonna wander the streets? Of,
Yeah, we're gonna walk
we're
that.
just gonna knock on the
Did they give us a
30
plan?
doors that are there? Or?
No, I don't believe they did. I'll check again, but no, I don't think there was a plan for that one either.
Well, then, no. I mean,
Yeah, I just
If it don't come up on Google, you know.
if you could pull the filing for that when
I
we
will.
issue the order of conditions,
Yep.
because again, you know, it's like, no, I mean, if we tell you to give us an as-built, it's not a suggestion.
It's just if it's a whole
It's not
neighborhood,
a-
we're just gonna
It's
be
not
walking around.
a wish, you know, we want them to do it. All right, if there is no other business, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, vote.